Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we will discuss the Cisco Packet Tracer. If you like networks, and I think you do because you're watching this video, and if you have been wondering which you had access to, some nice fancy routers, switches, hubs, cabling, lots of nodes, and the luxury to make mistakes, then that would have been so interesting, right? But look no further because we have the Cisco Packet Tracer. It is a free to download tool and it's also very small. It does not need a lot of computing resources. And using this, you can set up the network of your dreams and you can simulate different functionalities of the network, figure out if your plan for the network is going to work in real life, and just have fun. In this tool, and when you start this is something that you see. Cisco Packet Tracer gives you an opportunity to play around with network devices like routers, switches, hubs, wireless devices, and other things. You can add end devices like PCs, laptops, servers, and printers, and whatnot. You can have components, connectors, so on and so forth. So let's see how we can add a device to the Cisco Packet Tracer. So I'm going to go to End Devices right here, click on PC and click somewhere in the free space over here. And there you go, we have our first PC over there. Now, what does a PC need to start communicating with the external world? Well, let's give it an IP address. You can give an IP address to a device by simply single clicking on it. Then for things like desktops and PCs and other simple end devices, you could go to desktop over here and click on IP configuration. Now this device can receive IP addresses either using DHCP or it can receive static IP addresses, which is what we will do right now. So let me give it a class C private IP address, 192.168.150. So this is a class C IP address, and if you tab to the next field, it is going to graciously populate the subnet mask for you. And rightfully, it is 255.255.255.0 because this is a /24 address. So the network part is 24 bits of this IP address from the left, and the last 8 bits on the right, they go to the host. Here the network address is 192.168.1.0 because the subnet mask is this, and when you AND this value and this value, you get 192.168.1.0. We will not bother with giving a default gateway and a DNS server at this point of time, but we will tinker with these fields later in this video. I'm going to quit out of this dialog by clicking on the close button at the top right. Now, if you hover your mouse over this PC, you can clearly see that the link is down because it is not connected to any other device, but the interface has an IP address, the IP address that we gave it, and it is a /24 network. Now, in order for this PC to communicate with someone else, let's add that someone else, and that is going to be another PC. So I'm going to click on this PC and click somewhere here. And like we did for this PC, let's give this PC its IP address. I'm going to click on that PC, click on desktop, go to IP configuration and give it an IP address. I'm going to give it 192.168.1.51 and just press tab. It's going to automatically populate the subnet mask for you. I'm going to quit out of this, and now if you hover your mouse on this, you will see that this new PC has got its new IP address of 192.168.1.51. Now, in order for these two PCs to communicate, we need to connect them using a wire. So I'm going to go to this thing over here. It's called connections. You click on this, and if you want to connect two devices of the same type, here they are both PCs, you'd use a crossover cable. And this is a copper crossover cable. I'm going to click on that, click on this PC and say, connect this cable to the fast Ethernet 0 port. We don't want our network cable to be connected to the USB ports or the serial port over here. So I'm going to connect this to fast Ethernet and then drag the cable like this and just drop it on this computer. So just click on this computer. It is going to ask to which port of this computer you want to connect that cable, and you say fast Ethernet 0. And now the connection has been established. Now, since these two PCs have their IP addresses and everything set up, they can communicate with each other. So in the Cisco Packet Tracer, if you want two devices to communicate in a very, very simple way, you click on this icon. It says add simple PDU. You click on it, then you click on the first device, then you click on the second device. And then at the bottom over here, you will see that the packet was able to go successfully from PC0 to PC1, and it was an ICMP type of packet, maybe it's a ping packet, and then it was all successful. So now we were able to establish a successful route from this PC to this PC. Now, what do we do if we want to add another PC to this network? Now, it might come to your mind that we might need a switch. So let's add a switch to this network. So I'm going to go to network devices. At the bottom here, we have routers and switches. I'm going to click on switches. I'm going to use a simple 2960 switch. So I click on that and I click somewhere here. And now we have a switch. I want to delete this wire because I want all my computers to be connected to the switch over here. So I will click on this icon which says delete, and I'm going to delete this wire by clicking on it. I'm now going to go to connections. Now, since I'm going to connect my PCs to switches and they are different devices, we can connect the straight cable, which is called the copper straight through. I'm going to click on this one, the PC, select fast Ethernet, go to the switch and connect to fast Ethernet 0, 1. Again, click on copper straight through, click on this PC, say fast Ethernet 0, click on the switch. 0, 1 is now gone for this computer. So 0, 2 is the next one available. I'm going to click on that. And then since we promised that we will add a third PC, I'm going to go to end devices, click on PC, add a PC, go to connections, copper straight through, click on the PC, fast Ethernet 0, click on the switch, fast Ethernet 03, and there we go. We have 3 PCs connected to a switch, and the 3 PCs along with the switch form a single network. Now this PC over here has an IP address, this one over here has an IP address, but this one over here, the third one, the newest one, does not have an IP address. I'm going to click on it and go to desktop, IP configuration, give it an IP address in the same network. That is 192.168.1. I'm going to go for 52. And then I'm going to click tab and it will populate a subnet mask for you. And I'm going to close out of this window. Now you see all the links are active and these PCs can communicate with each other. So let's see if that works. I'm going to click on add a simple PDU, click on our newest PC and click on this PC. And you can see even that one was successful. The source was PC2 and the destination was PC1 and the packet could go through. I'm going to click on the envelope again and say I want to send a message from this PC to this PC, and even that is successful. The source is PC0 and the destination is PC2, and that was also successful. I'm going to move this network a little bit to the left, and to do that you can just simply drag over them and then move them wherever you want. So I'm going to keep it somewhere here on the left. I'm going to just keep it like this because that looks a little nicer. Then we want 2 networks to communicate. Now, how can you make 2 networks communicate with each other? You can do that when you put a router in the middle. Because let's just say, let me demonstrate this to you without a router in between. I'm going to go to network devices, switches. I'll add another 2960 switch over here. I'll add about 3 computers. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to give them IP addresses, and I'll make sure they belong to different networks. So let's go to desktop, IP configuration. I give them a class A private address, which would be 10.1.1.50, and it is a /8 network, and the network part is just 10.0.0.0, and the rest is just for the host. So this is a class A address, and the first network that we had a class C address. And let's see if these two networks can talk to each other without a router in the middle. So we gave this one an IP address. Yes. We're going to give this one an IP address too. And we'll say 10.1.1.51. And the third one also will get an IP address 10.1.1.52. There you go. And we're going to connect them using cables. So I'll go to connections. These are connections between computers and switches. So we will go with copper straight through. So these computers in the new network are now connected to their switch. Now let's connect this switch with this switch and see if the computers can all talk to each other and across networks. So I'm connecting a switch with another switch. I'm going to use a copper crossover because they are similar devices. Going to click on this and say fast Ethernet 4 and connect to this fast Ethernet 4. And now the two networks are connected, but can they talk to each other? This is a 192.168.1 network. This is a 10.0.0.0 network. So can they talk? Let's see. I'm going to click on the envelope over here, click on this PC, and then click on this PC. And it says in progress for a while, but it was not able to transfer the packet from PC0 to PC4 over here. That was not successful. Let's do it again. Let's go from this PC to this PC. It failed. The packet was not able to go from this PC to this PC over here using this link between the two switches. So what can be done about this? Now, as you might have guessed, we might have to add a router in the middle. So let's delete this connection and add a router. I'm going to go to network devices over here at the bottom. Routers are selected by default. I'm going to add a simple 4331 router here. And now I'm going to connect the switch to the router and this switch to the router and assign some IP addresses to the interfaces of the router that got connected to the respective networks, and we will see the packets could then still go through. So let me go to connections, and I'm connecting a switch to a router. These are different devices, so a straight through will do. Let's connect the switch, let's say fast Ethernet 04 to the router. We'll go to Ethernet 000 and then another straight through from this switch, Ethernet 04 to Ethernet 001. Now if you click on the router over here, you can go to config and you can go to the interfaces. Now 000 was connected to this switch over here, and the Ethernet interface 001 was connected to this switch over here. So if I go to Gigabit Ethernet 000 and click on that, I can assign IP addresses over here. Now 000 was connected to a network whose network part was 192.168.1.0. So the IP address of the router interface that is connected to that network also needs to be from that network. So we will say 192.168.1.10 and we'll say tab. It will populate it automatically, the subnet mask, because it's a 24 address. So we have 255.255.255.0, rightfully so. Then we go to gigabit Ethernet 001, and that interface was connected to this network over here. And this network's network part is 10.0.0.0, and these PCs had an address of 10.1.1 something. So I'm just going to follow the same pattern and give this router an address of 10.1.1.10. Now this could be 10.2 something, whatever, it does not matter. I'm just giving it 10.1.1.10 just to match with this pattern over here, just for aesthetic purposes. You can just give an address of 10.2.2.10 or something. Anything after the 10 on the left does not matter, because they all belong to the class A network that we are dealing over here. And when I tab, I get the subnet mask populated automatically. Then I'll go and close this dialog. You have to keep in mind that just configuring the IP addresses of the different ports of the router is not going to enable those ports. As you can see, these are still marked with the red triangle right here. If you just hover over the switch over here, you can see that fast Ethernet 04 is down. The only 3 ups over here are for the 3 computers that are connected to the switch. Fast Ethernet 04 is connected to the router, but that port is down. So we click on the router over here, go to the port gigabit Ethernet 000, and we say port status, we turn it to on. Then we go to gigabit Ethernet 001, and we turn on the port status over here. The port status has been turned on, that is, it has been checked. That means the port has been turned on, it's up and ready to work. You close this, and now as you can see that these 2 triangles have turned green, and if you give a little bit of time to the switches, even these orange dots would go away, and even they would turn like this green upward triangle over here. And there you go. Now even these orange dots turned into green upright standing triangles. Now let's see if we can send packets from one computer to another. So I click on add simple PDU over here. I click on one computer, then I click on one computer here in the same network. Now that's going to work because that was already working. These 2 computers are connected to the same network. They are on the same switch, so that is always going to work. Let me click on add simple PDU again, and then click on this computer and try to communicate with another computer on this network. Is that going to work? No, it failed. Now, why did it fail? You might ask, the router is up, the switches are working, everything is looking green over here. Why did that not work? Well, that's because these computers have not been given a default gateway. Now, a default gateway is the IP address of a device on the network where you send the packets that are not intended to go to the same network. Now, if a packet is trying to go from this computer to this computer, then you don't need a default gateway because it belongs to the same network. Now, if you want to send it to a different network, then this switch or these computers will not know what to do. So they will just try to send the packet to the default gateway, which would be this router. And this router's job is to figure out where to forward that packet. So we are just going to configure the default gateways of these 3 computers to the IP address of this router here, and the default gateway of these 3 computers to the IP address of the router on this interface. Let's do that. So I click on this computer, go to IP configuration, and I say 192.168.1.10. Remember, this was the IP address of the router on this interface, and this is the interface that is connected to the switch that manages the network to which this computer is connected. So that's that. Let me just quickly copy that value, and on the next computers I'm just going to paste it. That would be quicker. So just go to IP configuration and paste that there. Go to the last computer in this network, go to IP configuration and paste it right there. Now these 3 computers have the default gateways configured to the IP address of the router. Now let's configure the default gateways of these 3 computers to the IP address of the router on this interface on the right over here. Let's click on this. Let's go to IP configuration, and default gateway is going to be 10.1.1.10. Remember, this was the IP address of the router on the right side, on this port that it is connected to this network over here. I'm going to copy that, go to the next PC, go to IP configuration, say this, and go to IP configuration and do this and close it. Well, now let's see if I can send a packet from a computer on this network to a computer on this network. I'm going to click on add simple PDU, click on this computer, and then click on this computer over here. As you can see, it was successful. So the packet could go from this computer to this switch, and it was sent to the router because that was the default gateway, and the destination was at 10.0.0.0 kind of an address. And so that was not in this network. So the default gateway route was chosen, and the router was able to route it to this network because it knows that, well, the packet must belong to this network because one of my interfaces is on that network, and the packet got forwarded on this link, and the switch was able to send it to the correct computer. This time around, let's try to do something interesting. Now, giving IP addresses to computers manually is very, very boring. Just imagine if we had to do that for all the computers connected to the hostel network. Then just imagine how many clashes would happen. Everyone would want 10.1.1.1, and then there would be 5 people who configure their IP address statically to 10.1.1.1, and then that is not going to work because only one device in the network can have 10.1.1.1. So lots of different issues will happen, and it is just not advisable to use static IPs in big networks. So as you might know that DHCP, the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, can be used to dynamically assign IP addresses to nodes in a network. And this time around, let's create the same network, 2 networks, 1 router in between, but we will not assign IP addresses to the 6 computers, 3 on each network that we have statically. We will assign those IP addresses dynamically using 2 DHCP servers. So let's get going. I'm going to quickly add the computers 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to add 3 computers over here. All right. I'm going to add 2 servers, and they will act as the DHCP servers for the 2 networks. So we have a server over here. I'm going to click here. I'm going to add a server over here. Now let's add the switches. So I go to network devices and then go to one to the right over here. These are all switches. I add a 2960 over here in the same switch to this network. I'm going to connect up these devices. So I'm going to go for copper straight through and just quickly do this for you over here. I think you can also try to do this on your own. It's a lot of fun to do it like this. All right, now let's also connect the server to the switch. Let's wire up the other network over here. And then let's connect the server to the switch. I'm also going to add a router because the 2 networks won't be able to talk to each other otherwise. I'll go to network devices, routers are selected. I'm going to add a 4331 in the middle over here. I'm going to connect the switches to the routers. 000, then connect this network to 001. Now, I'd have to give static IP addresses to the interfaces of a router. Now, routers usually do not get IP addresses using DHCP. So I'm going to still keep the network on the left a 192.168.1 network and the network on the right as a 10.0.0.0 network. So let me click on the router over here, go to config, Gigabit Ethernet 000. I'm going to give it a 192.168.1 10 address, and then turn the port on. Then I'll go to Gigabit Ethernet 001 and give it a 10.1.1.10 address, which is a 10.0.0.0 network type address. It's a /8 class A private address, and then turn the port on too. Going to close this window now. Now let's try to configure the DHCP server over here so that it can start handing out IP addresses to these computers. To do that, I will click on the server over here and first give itself an IP address, because DHCP servers usually don't give themselves IP addresses. It is good to configure a static IP for those servers. So I go to config, I go to fast Ethernet 0, then I say 192.168.100, and 255.255.255.0 is the subnet mask that it gets. Then I go to services, I go to DHCP, and here we can configure the address pool. And what is an address pool? It is the group of addresses that this DHCP server is going to hand out to the computers. Now that will usually be a start IP address, that is the starting IP address it would give to the first computer. If that computer asks for an IP address, it would also hand out subnet masks, DNS server addresses, and default gateways as part of the DHCP protocol. And you probably know this if you have studied DHCP in some amount of detail. So we are just going to give our default gateway as the IP address of the router on the left interface, and that was 192.168.110. And we will leave DNS for now, and we will probably do some experiments on DNS later. And the start IP could be 192.168.1.1. The subnet mask is correctly set to 255.255.255.0, and I'm just going to do a save. Remember to click on save. It is only then that it will save whatever you have typed over here into the table over here. And also remember to turn the service on by clicking on this. So in this dialog, we first went to config, we gave a static IP address to the DHCP server, then we went to services, we clicked on DHCP, we gave the default gateway address, that was the address of the router over here, and we gave a start IP address, and then we gave a subnet mask, and then we just clicked on save, and we remember to turn the service on. Now we're going to close this dialog, and let's see if these computers have received their IP addresses. Now these computers have not received their IP addresses. Why is that? Because if you click on these computers and go to config and click on fast Ethernet, now remember there are two ways to give IP addresses to devices, right? You can either go to desktop if that is available and click on IP configuration and you get this, or you can just go to config and click on fast Ethernet, whatever the interface is, and then you will also get some options to configure IP addresses. You can do it both ways depending on what is available to you. This time around, let's do it a different way. I'm just not going to go to desktop and click on IP configuration. I'm just going to go to config, click on fast Ethernet 0, and then you see that these computers are configured to receive their IP addresses statically. So I'm just going to click on DHCP so that they can dynamically receive their IP addresses. And you can see right now it actually already got its IP address. And since the start IP address of the DHCP server was 192.168.1.1, that is the address that this computer got. Let's see what addresses the other computers get. I go to config, go to fast Ethernet 0 and click on DHCP. And you see it got 192.168.1.2 immediately. I close out, I go to the last computer in this network, go to fast Ethernet 0, click on DHCP, and I get an address already. And let's do the same configuration on the network on the right. I'm going to click on the DHCP server over here, go to config. You can also go to desktop and give it an IP address. You can do it from config also. So I click on config, go to fast Ethernet 0, give it a static IP address of 10.1.1.100, and I get a subnet mask Then I go to services, I go to DHCP, I'm going to give it a start IP address of 10.1.1.1. The subnet mask is fine. And the default gateway is going to be the IP address of the router on the right side, which was 10.1.1.10. All right. And then we are going to save this. I'm going to turn on the service, and that's it. Then I'm also going to configure these computers to receive their IP address using DHCP. I'm going to click on this computer over here, go to config, go to fast Ethernet 0, and click on DHCP. And there you go. It got its IP address. And this was the start IP address because this is the first IP address that this DHCP server gave out to any computer. Then I go to this computer, go to config, click on DHCP. There you go. Then the last one over here, config, fast Ethernet, DX. There you go. Now let's see if these computers on the left side can communicate with these computers on the right side. So I'll click on simple PDU, click on this computer, and then click on this computer, and you can see it was successful. So now, this time around, we did not configure these computers to receive static IP addresses. They received their addresses dynamically from DHCP servers attached to the respective networks, and with the router in the middle, these two networks are able to talk to each other. Now let's continue with this network and do something a little bit more interesting. Let's add a web server to this network and try to see if a computer on this network is able to access the web server over here. So I'm going to add a server over here. Let's go to end devices, server, and just put it over here. Then I'll connect the server to the switch using a straight through. They are connected. Now, do you think this server will get its IP address dynamically using DHCP from this server over here? Well, I think so. You should give it a little bit of time until this orange icon over here turns green, and then it should automatically get its IP address from the DHCP over here. Okay, there you go. Now this icon has turned green. Now let's hover over this server. Well, the IP address is still not set. And why is that? Because if you click on the server over here and go to fast Ethernet 0, it is set to receive its IP address statically. Just change it to DHCP and you will get your IP address. This is 10.1.1.4 because 10.1.1.1, 2 and 3 have gone to the 3 computers over here, and 10.1.1.4 is now going to the web server, the would-be web server over here. And if you hover over this, you can also see that it has received an IP address of 10.1.1.4/8. If we click on this server and go to services, you will see HTTP over here. You can click on that and you can already see that HTTP and HTTPS are both on. And index.html, image.html, hello world.html, copyrights.html, these are a bunch of HTML files over here. So let's go and edit the index.html file here. So we'll click on edit, and so this is supposed to say Cisco packet tracer and whatnot. I'm just going to put something very, very simple. I'm going to say H1. It works. Okay. And we are going to save this. And we'll say, let's overwrite the file. And once you've overwritten the file, just click on File Manager over here to go back to this page. Remember the IP address of this computer. It is 10.1.1.4/8. So now let's go to one of these computers over here. Click on them. Let's go to desktop. Let's go to a web browser. So do we see a web browser? Yes, there is a web browser over here. And let's go to HTTP 10.1.1.4/index.html. Yep, there you go. It says it works. So a computer over here was able to connect to a computer on a different network through the router, and the computer over here happens to be an HTTP server, and this server is able to serve the page index.html, which we just edited and added it works to the computer over here. And that is so cool to watch. So I think this is a good enough introduction to the Cisco Packet Tracer. As you can already see, this is a very interesting tool to experiment with computer networks. So please feel free to play around with this tool and have fun. Thank you.